So there could be alternate ways of living. Different life forms that are intelligent would live in very different ways, yes, to one another. I'm pretty sure there will be baselines that make individuals sort of similar in different aspects, like perhaps eating might be a very similar thing. Maybe not the same as what you would eat, but again, there would be baselines or strands that would twine together that would be parallels that you'd be like, I recognize that. But intelligence goes off in so many different directions, much like a star, in alternate directions, every single way possible, yes?
Yeah.
Is which way you can go is another way of living. Now, this is definitely not going to stick up here terribly well. That's all right. That's fine. Why don't you rest on there? Yeah, so in with this alternate ways of living and being, they're going to fundamentally probably follow the principle of the universe. Now, if you understand that there are many different ways to see the universe, and then that's where their perception lies, where their receptors lie. It's very strange, right? One thing is to see it this way as a timeline, right? So the universe flow rate at the moment is this way, yes? So we eat, we speak with the mouth, the ears hear the sound, okay? Now, to think of the universe went in an opposite direction from one point to another point, back and forth, bit like a pendulum from one, and it would swing into alternate, yes, from one side to the other, to the other. Why do we all choose to go this way? That's our current field of reality, right?
Okay.
That's our current perception. That we're going to go this way, we're going to leave the planet, we're going to do, and it all feels like a good idea, right? And sounds come in through the ears. Now, if it started to go backwards, well, you would reverse what you were doing. And it would feel equally as right to go this way.
Yeah.
But my word, it would be even more confusing for you to understand it, that food would then be uneaten by the mouth, broken apart. And you would still get the same energy benefit from it. Because if you've already eaten it and it's transitioned through you and you've seeked energy from it, it would then, if you could get to this point, right, and awareness was full, right?
Yeah.
And elders would know that this would be the way that they've been going from this, they believe, is dot. History from here has been lost, okay? And they got to here, and then all of a sudden, it started going this way again, from here. But if their memories were intact, that would be strange. Rather than having thoughts come to you, you would send out the thoughts. Rather than food would be interesting, the way food is. Basically, the way we see reality now, if you could see it all in every single perspective that you could, zoomed out on a camera that was made a video that was so advanced, and we see it go forward and progress over 500 years, let's say, and we were to run that in reverse without the squiggly lines, food would go in a very weird way. That's, again, another reality. But to say that it would never happen is a bit of a stretch. The food cycle, you would take in dirty urine and your body would process it into being clean water that you would then pour into a cup. And then you would take to the river and tip out into the river. You would then be purifying. It would be like, rather than, interesting, the sea sweating.
Yeah.
It sweats, the salt water sweats. This creates fresh water. The fresh water then falls. You take it from the river, drink it, and then you sweat out salt. The salt goes back to the river. It finds its way there eventually over eons and eons back into the ocean. So your sweat replenishes the sea. The sea sweat replenishes you in order to... So you need fresh to sweat out salt. Salt goes back into the ground, however else it rains in. It makes its way back into the water, let's say, and then back into the ocean in this cycle. But imagine that going reverse. That you would take in the sweat and give out pure water. Now, or purified water back into the rivers, and rivers flow backwards and everything else. Not everything in our physical reality, going to go with a flow on this one. Not everything in our perceived reality has to go backwards like the star or the planet. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Just going to put that on there.
Okay.
But to understand it, then birth would be an interesting one. That would go in reverse. So you would rise up, have an illness goes away, and then you would get smaller, 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 and into an infant. You'd still need to be taken care of at both ends of the spectrum. If you think about it, nursed through, and then that would be a very weird way of living, but doesn't mean that it hasn't happened or has happened over and over. And you never know, those stories that get passed down, say where the dead rise. The dead will rise. Again, there's possibility on that, depending on which way the pendulum goes. Perhaps when you die, you transition this, that, and the other, and then you wait until you rise up again. And this could be the rising, that when it gets to a certain point, the pendulum starts to swing back the other way. That would be very strange, wouldn't it? And you would unbuild the houses. You would rebuild the earth back into terra. You would, rather than chop down a tree, you see, you got to understand something, right? Just because of our perceived reality, we see a tree being chopped down, and someone swings something and bits fly off of it, and swings something and bits fly off of it, and then the tree falls. Which way is it really going? Think about it. If you can only see a certain amount on a spectrum in your visual perception, your awareness field, if you can only see parts of this, fragments of this, and your belief is it's going this way, how do you know it's not just an illusion? And even if it went in reverse, you would still have the same illusion of it going any other way, if you think about it. And then if you see someone chopping the tree, but each time the axe hits it, it rebuilds the tree. So the tree goes from fallen, and then all of a sudden it just goes back up, and then you feel the need to smack the tree. Each time you smack it, the pieces go back into the tree, and then you walk away from it. That was you rebuilding. You'd go in reverse. You would start, rather than taking the metals from the earth, you start to put the metals back into the earth, dismantle cars and put them down. And you would be like, but why would we ever do that? Exactly. Why do you do the things you do now? Answer me it. Do you know why? And I say survival, but what if reverse was survival and it felt like that would be survival?
Because we see the things the way we see them.
And we believe that that is forward motion. When in actual fact, we could be going in reverse. But we wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it unless you were privy to know that information. And then why to know it? What would you do with that information? But yet, hell of a story that your elders would pass down, though, wouldn't it? Say if we went to a moment now, and then all of a sudden, the mass hysteria, we all decide to go backwards and start doing the reverse. And we were to put this down, you could write it down, but it wouldn't feel right to write. And then imagine writing the words off the page. And scientists would say in that perception that you are absorbing the information. No kidding. When you're writing, you're not exactly absorbing the information. You are transforming the information from within to outside, so that other people can see within what you see within. So technically, you're allowing the information to leave your body, as opposed to absorbing it. And your ears, and this would be a weird thing, you would make sounds, people would know what you're saying, but it would be in reverse. Perhaps the sounds come from the ears back into the throat chakra, and this, everything would be in reverse, but you would call it a language and you wouldn't know any different. You know, if there was a universal power that was like, right, okay, we're going backwards, and now the pendulum then begins to swing in the opposite direction. Very interesting. One opening lotus flower versus one closing. One closing, one opens. Closes, opens. The only way the universe will be able to be going on and on and on and on and on, without it being a cycle. Cycling is where I believe that in the very beginning it would go from one to the other, because it wasn't able to remember. It has to be able to remember. Memories are stored up in humans, or intelligent life, let's say. So a lotus flower opening and closing. Now, that's not what I wanted to talk about today, but it's still, again, a very weird way to look at things, right? But this with intelligent life, okay? We're going to get back onto that topic now. And this is a weird one, if you thought that bit was weird. Ooh. Okay, we'll turn it upside down. That's good, right? You don't see the bottom of that now?
Yeah.
That's good. You do?
Yeah.
You see the bottom here?
No, I don't see the bottom.
Good.
I can't see the bottom.
Okay, so alien life then, if you want to say that, intelligent life that would look at the universe in a very different way and try and apply that universe into their everyday living. And I think the one thing that you would come across, the most intelligent, one that would favor intelligent, I think that would be a parallel, that they all want to have this thing called intelligence. Because intelligence, they believe, and then following the principle of what the universe does already, splitting and compressing. And this is interesting, right? So let's say they got advanced and they started to clone. Perhaps they didn't make all intricate spacecraft yet and hadn't decided to leave their world. It doesn't mean to say that they're not intelligent. Perhaps their intelligence was they know when their star's going to run out and they're pretty sure of themselves that they can build something right at the last minute, fine art museum and all the rest of it. But let's say they studied their own life forms. Throw this one out to you. Just bear with me a second. Okay, so... And it doesn't have to work in twos, by the way. This can be odd numbers or even numbers, but in the beginning, perhaps it would work in twos. Now, each one of these is a clone.
Yeah.
Clone 1, clone 2, and clone 3. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, they would make these clones on purpose.
Yeah.
So let's put these into some sort of apparatus. Just for a second, we're just going to suspend these. So each one of these clones is going to be subject to the same life. Okay? So they technically, even though this is not possible, but if it's a clone, it's more likely than impossible.
Yeah.
And we're not talking twins. This is very next level from twins.
Yeah.
So identical and all the rest. This is a next step up. These are identical clones with the identical mindsets. The only one thing that is going to set these clones apart is this. So in the beginning, you would have one individual that they would then begin to clone 1, clone 2, clone 3.
Yeah.
They would all be brought up the same way and experience the same things. They would not leave one another's sides. They would all go to the same lessons.
Yeah.
They would wake at the same time. Perhaps they'd have the same health. You know, again, until you've made clones that you would know about 1, 2, 3, 4. In this example, if this one gets too fake, this one is going to get it at the same time. That's how precise these clones need to be. The only difference is the subjects that they're going to learn. This one is going to, in this example, is going to learn English. This one is going to learn French. And this one is going to learn German, just off the top of my head, okay? Jiffy is what they're going to learn. Now, that's the only thing that's going to separate the two together. Now, the art is we keep this main clone here, which is not a clone, the original, let's say. This is the original.
Yeah.
These are the 3 clones. Then, we're going to get these in the right perspective, right, to understand this. This is very weird. We're going to... Do you know, if 2 people ran into each other as fast enough and quick enough, they would merge into one. The universe is doing this anyway. Splitting things apart, merging things together. So hydrogen to helium. Yeah? We're going to do the same with our clones. We're going to put clone 1 into clone 2 and clone 2, or clone 3 into 2 and 2 into clone 1. If successful, which it should be, you would then have one clone, hopefully, that would be fluent in these languages.
Okay.
If this works, you then clone them again. Now, this cloning process would have to be done in a matter of hours. So we're not talking like it's going to take this amount of years to make that clone. No, if this clone is now, let's say, 30, the next clone next hour would be 30-year-old at the same ratio as what you are. Now, if this worked, these would be fluent in all of these languages. However, moves the understanding that time is everything. Time, everything. How long would it take clone number 1 to learn all of these versus clones that were smashed together to learn it? So you could make a very intelligent being within 5 years, depending on the subjects that you gave it. Very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it very strange? And these clones can be smashed together. Now, if you want to go a bit more than that, if you could extract the very essence of life that is instilled within each and every one of you, you say, I identify myself as this person, yada, 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 that does this, X, Y, Z, and everything else in between, right? That label. Very interesting. Now, if you could extract that from an individual, and then clone the essence of the individual,
Mm-hmm.
and then put these into, so we would call them bodies, which would just be nothing more than just shells. This is with them when things get a little bit more interesting. Let's say if we could extract the essence of each of these clones. By the way, you've just made eternal life.
Yeah.
Once you've done this, this is eternal life. But it doesn't stop there. There are multiple ways to make eternal living, right?
Yeah.
There are many ways to do it. In fact, it's one of the easiest things to do is create eternal life. It is very easy. The thing that makes it very difficult is you live in a world that is here. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say if I gave a key to you that says that you can live forever, and I knew how to do it, put you up into a machine that was capable of listening and following my instructions to make you into an eternal being. There is a problem with it
Yeah.
whilst you're here. It sounds great, does it?
Yeah.
Sounds great that you could live forever. No matter what, you would live forever. You would always be aware of yourself. Problem, you'll still age. You just won't die.
Yeah.
Problem, you'll still get disease. But you just won't die. Problem, you could have a horrific car accident, be blown into a million subatomic particles everywhere. Subliminal? No, whatever. Trying to use a fancy word there. And you could remain in many different pieces. But again, you still won't die. Sound very good idea to you now?
No.
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 No. So the avatar needs to come up and needs to be brought up to speed. There is no good living eternal if it meant that your surgeons or your medical, you see, take the NHS, beautiful thing right here. Free healthcare service, not going to charge you a lot of money at the end of it. Everyone pays into a tax pot, yada, yada, yada. You get how it works, X, Y, Z. Imagine that on steroids, and maybe you start to hit the envelope of eternal life. But without that, let's say if it's all private care, pay me money. More money. Come on, money is never going to get there with that, because what will happen is greed will take over, and that's what it will be. Someone's pocket will be being filled up with a lot of money, and they won't use it correctly. This has happened time and time and time again. So, where you've got something that is a bit more livelier than this,
Yeah.
which is a bit more moving towards this, you would need to be able to fix spines.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Then this one wouldn't be so much of a problem of eternal life either. Is ain't no good being eternal living if you can't do anything. Eternally trapped inside your mind whilst you can't operate the very vessel that you are in.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's
is it?
not a great.
No.
It'd be a new way to punish people, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Your punishment
Jail
shall not be
forever.
to die, but to live forever.
Yeah.
But being unable to do anything. And then you can see how it can become weaponized as well.
Yeah.
Extremely weaponized.
Yeah. I can
This
see
is what we call a mute body.
Uh-huh.
To be trapped inside your own body. Fully aware. Not a place. Not something for individuals. And then people would begin to miss and mourn death. Isn't that very weird?
Yeah, it is.
You see, like if you were to release this out to everybody, everyone starts knowing how this happens and everything else, they'll run away with the whole thing. They won't even think about it. They'll jump really quickly because it sounds like such a great idea. Quick, let's get on this bandwagon. I want to live forever type thing. I don't care. I want to be invincible. And then douche, something happens.
Yeah.
Too late. How do you unpick that? Well, you've just got eternal life. Careful what you wish for. Always careful what you wish for. And then there's careful what you do. Now, if we were in a bit more cushioned environment,
Yeah.
it would be a little bit more. It still wouldn't be enough to give it, but it would be enough to at least start to consider it. Oof, being trapped inside a star burning. Never mind. Anyway, so again, do you see where things have to? It's much more easier to go for the very essence of what you are. Now, so, we can always get the essence of what you are, and this, that, and the other, and that, and that. Again, can be abused. Can be very much used in, did you pay me enough money? Did you give me enough servitude? Did you do this, this, and that? Right, again, even extracting the very essence, holding these vials of life, let's say. Not the best in the world, is it? Once again, would you rather spend eternity trapped inside a vial up on a shelf somewhere? Not very good, really, either, is it?
No.
But anyway, let's just say that there are other life forms out there that would be a bit more in this sort of arena, where they don't have this structure that humans have created here. Not saying that it's good, not saying that it's bad. We're just going to think out of the possibilities here. So you extract the very essence of the life, and then that is something. To even be able to do that is one thing. Now to clone it, how many years would you need as life forms to focus on something that is more greater than yourself? Think about it. Humans have built some very nice stuff, but it's all to do with money. Yeah. Imagine a world without no money. Hard to do so, right? Once again, we're trying to move out of that perception, which is hard to do because you're in this constant perception. I'm not saying that it's good and I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm saying it's got its fucking problems. So, again, but imagine if it was on another being's planet that it was all about passion-based.
Yeah.
Love, passion, and moving your species forwards, as opposed to only moving some people forwards and holding back a larger amount of other people because you're jealous or you have an ego or you've got this or you don't have an ego, you need a bit more, and different things like that. So let's say that if you were a life form that favored this over everything and everyone got around everybody, it could go quite far. Also got a shit ton of problems. Don't get me wrong, it really does. So being able to capture the essence, one thing. Being able to clone that very essence, another thing. Being able to clone it even more so than on top of that. Now, do you know why this one is the best one?
Why is that?
And I'm going to tell you why, because I like that one. The reason why is because this one would you'd then need to work on avatars, right?
Yeah.
Which would be bodies.
Yeah.
Bodies. And then making bodies, right? Of all different shapes and sizes and all different life forms.
Yeah.
What if you came to Earth, secretly, covertly, took a human, only to test the body and then release them back again?
Yeah. Oh.
But just so that you could map it, so that you could build a body. And then you took another life form from another planet somewhere else. This would want to make you move away from your star, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And you took another one, and then you started to map that one, and you started to map this one, and then you started to create them. So we've now got one for Earth. We've now got one for a planet called France. And we've got another one from a planet called Germany. Okay, these are all different planets now. So we've got an England planet, planet England, planet France, and now planet Germany.
Yeah.
These are all empty vessels. No life in them whatsoever. Nothing at all, not that essence. If you were to charge it up and watch it go, it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't even move. Can you imagine that? That is the truest dead shell. Again, perception. Where does your perception lie? Can you imagine a human with no eternal essence in it? What it would do?
Nothing. Don't know.
And then you would start to find out that it would have a separate essence to it.
Huh?
It would, you try and install one of these clones into it, and it still wouldn't work. God, the amount of difficulty you would have.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? You go through all of this trouble, make the perfect avatar, and then you install this into it, and it doesn't work.
Oh, wow.
Because there's another essence that you need to add to it.
Ah.
What would that essence be? Well, the bit of knowing that knows how to operate all of the organs and everything else in a nice sort of way. Again, it's slow progress, right? Bit at a time.
Yeah.
Successful in capturing this and cloning it. You can put it in your own avatars. Lovely.
Yeah.
But does it really work in any others? Well, no, because there's a lot of problems. Then you've got to marry them up together. This would be interesting, wouldn't it? Could you imagine that, taking a life form from another planet? Intelligent and whatnot.
Yeah.
You bring it to Earth.
Yeah.
Just to study it, measure it, take some BMI and whatever else. Oh yeah, you're a bit squidgy here. Okay, all right. See what this breathes. This breathes in this. Works well on that. Okay, put the very essence of the being back on its planet. And then they wake up and they're like, I had this weirdest dream. I thought I saw a ghost. Are you sure it wasn't an alien? Nah, it was a ghost. Ghost.
Yeah.
Anyway, ghost or alien? Which one would you more so believe in?
People are talking about ghosts, but there are those who say, "Oh, I was somewhere on some vessel and there were some aliens." So.
How do I say vessel? A vessel inside a vessel.
In the space, they take some people into the space.
Surrounded by other vessels.
Don't know.
That's a lot of vessel then.
Yeah. Vessel inside vessel.
What are you? I'm a ghost. Smoke screen. Wouldn't it be the best smoke screen? You know, that's exactly what you would have to do if you came across another planet of beings. You would just go down and just, you'd be invisible to them.
Yeah.
But things start moving. You can't see me, but you can see this moving. Oh man, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and then it would be like
It's levitating!
a haunted house
It's
or
a
something.
haunted house. Go, ghost!
Yeah.
What is a ghost? We're trying to figure out what a ghost is and then watch them for a bit. Oh, dead ones of them.
Oh, it's
see.
colder suddenly here or something, isn't it?
Commander-in-Chief, they think we're ghosts. What the hell's a ghost? Dead versions of them. Go with it. Good smoke screen. Okay, thought as much. Are you an alien? No, ghost. Anyway, so once you've taken this being from there and you've mapped it out, and then you start playing around with the squidgies,
Yeah.
and then you put that one back over there, back into its habitat. You've then got this baseline to start plasticine-y, like godly building up a vessel that's like this.
Yeah.
Because you want to put some of yours in it, some of your knowing.
Yeah.
And why would you want to put your knowing in there? Because then they can teach you everything about them. They teach you. They teach you all of this knowing. Think about it. Here's A. Okay, that's A. Secretly, you can translate between the two.
Yeah.
That's what you would do, wouldn't you? Best way to gain intel would be to go down and be one of them. Artificially inseminate into one of their beings.
Yeah.
Grow as a baby.
Yeah.
Gain and garner all of that knowledge. For what reason? Well, to find out whether they're hostile or not. Would you? Learning language, learning parts, gaining more intelligence. Isn't that the best way to do it?
It is.
Anyway, so moving on with this, but it's really not that.
Yeah.
To take all of their money?
Yeah.
No. So once you're able to then get these in here,
Yeah.
the one from a planet called Germany, and then this clone goes into one planet called France, and this clone goes into a planet called Earth.
Yeah.
And then being able to clone is basically saying taking a copy of.
Yeah.
Now you're going to merge them when they pass over.
Yeah.
When they've lived their life there on Earth, on France, on Germany, let's say, on the planet Germany. They're stars.
Yeah.
Then merge back into one sole star.
Yeah.
How much knowledge has that one essence now gained? Think about it. If your knowledge can come with you and you store all of this knowledge, which again, you would have to go a very long way in traveling in yourself to understand that. The knowledge all comes.
Yeah.
How much arsenal could you learn? Well, think about it. Do you think there is a chance that Earth could learn weaponry, and that a planet called France could learn weaponry, and a planet called Germany could learn weaponry?
Yeah.
What have you just learned?
Weapon.
How many languages?
3.
How many much writing have you learned?
Yeah.
Then if you were to study multiple languages in that, what about behavior?
Yeah, behavior is different in each place, probably.
What about history of
To
the
certain
universe?
Yeah, that probably is different too, isn't it? According to their science.
What about in your cloning, you make a avatar that is nigh on impossible to defeat? And not talking in times of battle here.
Yeah.
We're talking in terms of multiple bronchioles that are quite capable of mixing to get the life that you need.
Yeah.
Skin that's able to take pressure and depressurization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd be able to go to space and not be affected by it. You'd be able to breathe in most gases.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would be the idea anyway.
Yeah.
But you need to know a lot of gases in that. And then therefore you would need to know a lot of intelligence. And gaining this intelligence would be amazing. Now, I'd ask you about the universal force of everything.
Yeah.
Which do you think it would be more impressed with? How do you not know that the universal, let's say God, isn't doing this already?
Maybe it is.
But you're doing it, but taking it one step further. How impressed do you think the creator of the universe would be at a species that was capable of doing such things? I mean, it's a hell of a thing to share. What did you do with your life? Excuse me, apostrophe S on the end of that. Lives.
Yeah.
Damn, I gave you 1 and you managed to pack 62 so far. Simultaneously. That was per round. Perhaps not being able to get them to share the information wirelessly just yet. Being able to communicate between... There could be messages being sent this way, don't get me wrong. There can be the odd little burst here and there. But you'd have to go a long way in order to, still growing, right? This is still in the incubation chamber. We're still developing this.
Yeah.
But, and what's more, how would you ever know?
Yeah.
Try and find that. That is like trying to find a grain of sand in the universe, but a particular grain of sand that you dropped a very long time ago. When Earth was, not Earth, the universe was just starting out, you just dropped a tiny grain of sand in there. You've been away for a bit, been on holiday in your ship, in multiple areas. And by that time, a few million years went by, and my word, where the hell's that grain of sand? The universe has developed well on since then and combined more sand with it. This particular grain of sand is very precious. You're trying to find it, right? So anyway, work in progress. And wouldn't that be very interesting? See, eternal life this way is much more better. Because once you understand that your avatar is probably a way to call it, your flesh can just be maneuvered. I don't like the skin. Just like on a games console where if you don't like your skin, you change your skin.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. Bone structure, anyone? I mean, how much creative could you get? Would you have bumps in places? Would you make yourself look very nice? You would have an ego, but it wouldn't be an ego of wanting. It would be an ego of having. I don't like my ears. Should we get rid of our ears? Like it. No ears, no hair. It's a bit cold on this one. Okay, hair.
Feathers.
Feathers. Would you grow wings? You would. Oh, you definitely would. Oh, you would. You would find a way to incorporate not just that, but birds into your structure. Ones that worked, not ones you had to connect to your arms, and no, ones that allowed you to have your hands free and have the ability to fly. In certain conditions, not all conditions, become real handy in space, by the way.
Yeah.
Literally, really handy. What the hell do I want any feet for? I might as well be a blob with hands. Lots of hands, like a spider. Could you imagine that? At any time you wanted, you would have an avatar per job.
Yeah.
You're going to be Tarzaning it around a ship in 0G because it's fun. You know, you're going to be transitioning through doors. You know, like when you walk through a door and the doors open up for you.
Yeah.
Imagine an avatar dropping down. It doesn't matter about it because we'll make another one. You just disregard one, and as soon as you walk through the door, I'm now a spider with hands swinging through the craft. Now I come through this door and I'm back into the avatar I am now. Just like that. Just walk through the door.
Yeah.
Instantaneously just transferring the essence of you into skin. Well, this skin looks a bit alright. I think I can get a few more years out of this one. Just pick back up that one.
Yeah.
And all you would spend most of your life doing is collecting money. No, I mean growing your light. Growing the essence of what you are. Adding to the knowledge. Which one sounds more fun to you?
Knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
After all, knowing it is one thing, isn't it? Trying to know it all is something else. You're such a know-it-all. Wouldn't you love to be? Why do you get so hating about that? That is everything that everyone would strive to be. You don't have to be one thing. You want to speak all the languages? Done. And then, if I had to come here, live this life, go there, live that life, and die, and as much as I respect the universe for giving it the starting point, I think it's a bit too long. This way, you're fully in control of it.
Yeah.
After all, the universe gave you this much time. What are you going to do with it? Spend it saving money, collecting lots of things just for me? Why do not let that enjoyment go on forever? Ever and ever and ever and ever. Into as many cycles as you possibly can. Why would you just want it for one mere blink of a time just to play I'm greater than everybody? Which I don't believe that. No one is greater than anybody else. But why would you not want to live that with everyone? Yes, Dean. Do you have killers? In a place that figured out eternal living? I don't think so. I think you're, the answer is no. Well, I killed that avatar, sir. Right, that's 50 days inside this place over here. Come on, in the vial. But death is not possible. That would seem like the biggest waste of time ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, do you remember when you were in that avatar? Why, yes, I do. Do you remember when I killed it? Yeah. That was pretty pointless, though, wasn't it? No. Any situation like that knocks both of them out of the avatar. I mean, what type of an existence would you like? I mean, if you had to ask yourself a serious question, come back here, do this shit again, or go somewhere where you get at least a chance at being something. Which one are you going to remember forever? Which one would you want to delete out of your memory bank?
Go for the more adventurous one.
One that offers you more, yes?
Yeah.
And you want to stay in things like that. Why? Because it offers you exactly what you want. But you just don't know you want it yet because, well, you see this. And what you want instead is money.
Mm.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. Very sad when there could be so much that if all of this gift could be utilized in the most. You're using it, but is it really what the whole of humanity want to be using it for? And I think no.
Mm.
No. Yeah, this way, very unfair. The other way, much more fair. Again, but it takes an awful lot to find all of this stuff, and I guess it's not without them trying to find it. But then, if they were to find it, yeah, I think that certain individuals would hold this. So we shh, don't tell them. Fuck them. Yeah, because that's kind of what this is right now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the universal power being like, no, fuck them? And then what becomes sacred in that? People are like, people don't respect one another these days. Fuck me.
No.
You seen your planet? Have you seen what all of you do to each other?
Yeah.
I don't think you're respecting anybody in this aspect. No one respects anything, anyone. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred.
Yeah. True.
Well, money, maybe.
But that is not really sacred, is it?
Not really. Flags, territory,
Yeah.
bombs. Weird. It's just weird. So, when you reach this point, do you reckon it'll change anything?
I'm not sure. I don't know really.
I mean,
should,
the
shouldn't
question would then be, how much could you learn? Well, where does it stop? Well, it doesn't stop, but then what's next? Where's the next adventure? Have you seen the size of this solar system? Universe. We'll speak solar system. That's pretty big in itself.
Yeah.
Think about what you could learn if multiple of your avatars went there.
Yeah.
And you'd never have to worry about death. You didn't feed that one enough. Yeah. Be a little more gentle with this one, please. It does need feeding. I know.
Yeah.
In you go.
Yeah. Seeing more of the universe.
Whoops, I got a little bit close to that star. Oh, fuck hell, Terry, man. Change your avatar.
That one didn't last, did it? It smells now.
That would be an interesting existence, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it's all where you put your focus, though, isn't it? Where you choose to focus on things. Now say, none of this is possible. Have you seen what stars do? Have you been paying attention to anything? But we put all bullshit in your way. Oh, that's what that smell is.
Yeah.
But no, you would go down and learn from these life forms and different life forms and wherever they may be, from a caterpillar to an ant and everything else in between. Yeah. Still an experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about the experience. Everyone talks about the experience, right? What about experiencing life as a cat, rabbit, dog? I'm not sure about that one. I wouldn't like to live like that. Horse? Still wouldn't like to live like that. They seem pretty bored. We walk dogs more than we walk horses.
Yeah.
You think horses need more walking than a dog, right?
Yeah.
Gotta do this 3 times a day. Why is that? Because I like them shitting all over the road. I don't
Yeah.
have to clear up my garden, you see.
Yeah.
Okay. And horse manure. That's right. Quick, get your shovels, scrape the horse manure up. It's good for the roses. Okay.
Put it in your pots.
It sounds like an old myth.
Yeah.
That they didn't want to pay people to clean the roads or the tracks back then, so they just told everyone that the horse shit is good for your roses, which was the main flower here, I think, which represented the nation, didn't it? The rose.
Yeah.
So people were out there trying to fight to get it. They'd be picking it up with their hands if they saw
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Make better looking rose.
Clean the roads and also looks after your roses.
Yeah.
Free of charge. Anyway, yeah, but it was possible, you know? But again, still, those horses look really bored in that field, man, just eating all the time. And they're like, oh my god, they got to be a certain weight, certain big, certain this, certain that. Man, they look so bored.
Yeah.
You'll walk a dog 3 times a day, but you gotta fucking leave your horse in a field. Walk it once a month. What a life.
They should work every day, though, shouldn't they? From what I remember.
The only 3 horses are the ones in Chernobyl. In Chernobyl?
Yeah.
Wild horses, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are a few more in other places, but still.
Yeah.
Man, they're big. But they're not being fed all that grain and corn and whatever those things are that they're given. Some of them are given some weird food. And chickens as well. Weird. Interesting, but still. Wouldn't like to be a chicken either. Nah.
No.
Nah, you're alright, thanks. I can see that one from this avatar. Okay, enough idea. Or a pheasant. Although they can run pretty quick, can't they?
Yeah. And
you know you've got wings.
Yeah, and they can fly a bit, yeah.
They choose to run everywhere like little road runners. They're
Yeah.
fucking weird birds, they are. Alright though. Alright. What about a peacock? I get to walk around with the biggest fucking ego ever. Go, my ass! My ass! No? Yeah?
Yeah.
Have some beautiful feathers. Is it a peacock? Here it is.
Yeah,
Here
peacock,
comes Mus. Here we got a cat.
Here comes Ka. Yeah, with big ego,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Anyway, gonna run this one down because I think I said enough on this one. Although it's not really what I wanted to talk about. It was something completely different. I went really off topic on this one. I must get focused. I actually don't have to. I love it like this. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there. There we are. Wonderful.